For many young Filipinos, one job isn't enough.
Hindi ko masasabi na ako lang yung ganito. Majority ng kakilala ko, kaibigan ko, ganito din yung lifestyle. Hindi namin kaya na isa lang yung trabaho.
It's become a normalized form of work, and it's also become aspirational for some.
More than 6 in 10 young Filipinos juggle multiple sources of income, more than their counterparts in Southeast Asia.
O yung usual tulog ko lang talaga is 2 hours, 3 hours. Pero syempre, racket po kasi yan, so kailangan natin yun i-take talaga.
Kumbaga, naano ko na lang sa oras. Sumasagad na lang ako kumbaga kung magkano kikita.
Are they doing it out of desire or necessity?
Their motivation for themselves to really work hard so that they could actually get what they want in life.
As young Filipinos embrace the hustle, will it bring them closer to the lives they want?
Pag-alis ko sa bahay, dumidiretso ako dito sa Queer Plaza. Doon po ako po pesto sa may mga maraming store or restaurant para pasukan agad ng grab food, ng maka-pick up agad ng mabilis.
On a typical day, Rodison spends 9 hours doing deliveries for Grab.
May natanggap na ako ang pick up ng Inasal. Ang drop off niya sa may Vista Verde Village, Cainta. Ako dito ay sa isang booking 68 pesos. Ang target ko ay maka 1.5 sa araw na ito.
On a busy day, Rodison can cover between 70 to 85 kilometers on his bike. At 7 p.m., he picks up his last delivery for Grab, but the day is not over for Rodison. After a quick change, he starts his second job as a parcel delivery rider, where he will work for another 5 hours.
Pag wala lang ganong booking sa Grab, bali binubuksan ko yung apps ng Lalamove. Ang Lalamove po kasi sa gabi, medyo high demand po kasi paggabi. Pagdating na ng mga bandang alas 10, alas 8, yan. Pag high demand kasi, depende sa pair ng kikita pa rin naman.
More than 70% of Filipino millennials and nearly 2/3 of Filipino Gen Zs say they have taken on paid work outside their main job, far above global averages. And this culture of side hustles is so common, the Filipinos have a name for it: raket.
The rise of the racket culture, as we call it, is now the cultural normalization of gig work as a form of getting by, as a form of survival, but also as a form of thriving. So it has moved from lack of employment opportunities that are standard and also as a strategic choice for many Filipinos to mix and match different forms of livelihood opportunities that have also opened up for them through technology and so on and so forth.
So, what is driving racket culture? For one, underemployment. Underemployment is when someone has a job but is working fewer hours or below their skill level. In March, the Philippines' underemployment rate stood at about 12%, affecting more than 6 million workers. And in 2023, it had the highest rate of time-related underemployment among Southeast Asian countries.
Historically, the Philippines has not really been able to provide standard and stable employment for all its human capital. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng may kakayahang magtrabaho, hindi sufficient yung opportunities na available sa ating labor market. And historically, nagsastrategize ang government. But then, kulang pa rin siya, di ba? Marami pa rin Filipinos that are unable to obtain standard and well-paid employment.
Kailangan po kasi dalawa kasi sa baba po ng rate ni Lalamove, hindi kasi sapat na bumuhay na isang pamilya. Lalo na't mahal ang bilihin, daming gastusin, daming pangailangan. Pag kumita ako ng 1.5, bali ini-estimate ko siya, yung pera, Nagbibigay ako ng 300 dun sa hinuhulugan ko, a day. Sa pagkain naman, maabot ng 200 plus. Tapos yun, yung sa gatas, so mga nasa 190. Tapos yung Pampers, nasa 170.
On average, Filipino workers earn less than counterparts in Thailand and Vietnam after adjusting for differences in living costs. At the same time, the Philippines experience one of the region's highest inflation rates in recent years, putting pressure on household budgets. These issues, among others, led thousands to protest ahead of the State of the Nation address last month.
Food prices are rising because of supply chain constraints that the country is currently experiencing, and low productivity in the food production is also taking its toll on the price of food. On top of that, rising prices in terms of fixed assets such as housing and transportation are also taking its toll because of trade concerns as well as the natural increase in prices over the years. Given the fact that incomes are relatively slower in its rate of increase, a lot of Filipinos are now taking what we call side jobs.
The Philippines has a decentralized minimum wage system. Each region sets its own, with wage levels typically reviewed every year. The average minimum wage across the Philippines is just over 500 pesos, or roughly $8 a day.
That is less than half the family living wage of 1,300 pesos. That's also why so many young workers take on multiple jobs to bring in more to their family. If you average all the country's minimum wages since 1989, they're worth 20% less now than in 1989, considering inflation. Over the exact same period, productivity doubled, in some cases even tripled. So for us, that is an absurdity.
And among salaried workers, even that remains out of reach. Around 4 in 10 across the country are paid below the mandated minimum wage.
Right now, we're concerned with having that dignity of worker concept in place, with them having more purchasing power, balanced with convenience in life, balanced with the needs of the management and employer as well, their capacity to provide jobs.
So, why are wages in the Philippines so low? This chart shows professions measured by productivity from left to right. Low productivity jobs tend to pay less than high productivity ones. In 2023, workers in 3 of the country's most productive industries earned around 1,000 pesos a day. Those in the 3 lowest productivity sectors, less than 600 pesos. And here is where you find many young Filipinos.
Young Filipino workers, 24 and under, 2/3 are in agriculture, they're in wholesale and retail trade, they're in construction, they're in hotel and restaurant. 2/3 of the Filipino youth are in the lowest productivity sectors in the country.
When we say low productivity jobs, these are actually tasks or skills that are not that high because they are not supported by modern technology, by innovation. As opposed to high productivity, wherein skills have been established and they are easily being augmented by modern technology, creating more value for the output of that job.
Growth in labor productivity in the Philippines has outpaced many of its Southeast Asian neighbors in recent years. However, this could be due to its low base. In 2025, Philippines' dollar output per hour worked, a measure of productivity, lags most of the region.
It's because of the fact that the Philippines is actually leapfrogged from agriculture to services without actually creating a solid foundation for manufacturing workers. Having a strong manufacturing base prior to leapfrogging to a services sector allows workers to create or generate greater skill sets, no? Higher productivity skill sets learned from the manufacturing sector.
By the last updated data, But 85% of Filipino senior high school students cannot read unaided. So that is not a solid base for any sort of high technology, high-skilled jobs. So you do need education policy to support manufacturing policy.
But even with educational qualifications, some young Filipinos may not take up jobs that match their skill set. Harold Balmaceda graduated with a degree in education, but because of the low pay in teaching, he chose to work at the call center, a car dealership, and now a clinic.
Yung admin work po or yung trabaho po na ginagawa ngayon sa dialysis center is ako po yung naka-assign po sa mga empleyado, sa employees po. Ako po yung nag-aasikaso sa kanila kapag may mga concern po silang gustong iparating sa employer or sa aming trabaho. Ako din po yung tumatanggap ng mga inquiries ng mga gustong magpa-dialysis sa amin.
What Harold experienced is one form of job mismatch that's common in the Philippine labor market.
You have highly trained Filipinos, but because they can't find opportunities in the Philippines, you're either forcing them abroad where they can do something with their college education and their skills and training, or they work at home with a skills mismatch, working work that is actually below their skills level.
We have interviewed so many freelancers. Some of them are teachers. Some of them finished CPA. So yung iba may iba't ibang klase ng degree, but they end up in freelancing and taking on different kinds of work.
It really boils down to a bigger worker population number that has to be matched with the market needs. We're not really up to date with the jobs needed today, but perhaps our educational system is geared towards the jobs of yesterday.
For Harold, despite seeking a career with higher pay, one job was still not enough for him.
Parang mostly lahat ng sahod ko inapupunta lang po sa bills. Kaya po, gumagawa po ako ng mga other side hustles ko po. Sumasali po ako ng pageants, nagbebenta po ako ng kung ano-ano po sa online, sa TikTok, and nag-live din po ako through yung mga social media po para po magkaroon po ng mga extra income.
But hustling for necessity is only one side of the story. The other is ambition. Based in Batangas, Real Morphe wears many hats. She works as a freelance photographer, runs a home-based photo studio, takes on art commissions, and sells products online. Today, she's leading a workshop.
So, ang gagawin natin ngayon ay sun printing o tinatawag nilang antotype. Ang sun printing ay isang proseso ng photo transfer gamit ang natural pigment at yung pagbi-bleach o pagbibilad nito sa araw. Kikitain ko dito sa kit na to, sa workshop, kada workshop is 800 pesos kada participant. In photography, I earn 20 to 30K a month. Sa other hustles ko, siguro sa painting, if makakabenta ako ng isang painting sa isang buwan, 6K isa na. Sa live selling, nakakapag 1K naman siya. Pero kasi yung live selling, super side hustle lang talaga siya. Na kapag kinailangan, dun ka kukuha or parang ipupush mo na mag-sell online.
The multiple jobs Real juggles today were a conscious choice. She left behind the security of a regular office job to build a career around her passion instead.
Before, nagtrabaho ko sa isang engineering company bilang graphic designer. Tapos, nagtrabaho din ako bilang gallery assistant. So, admin work naman yun, office work naman yun. Doon din ako na-burn out kasi mas tutok ako sa admin work. Kinailangan kong i-give up yung security ng 9 to 5 job, yung salary every month. Kinailangan kong mag-risk sa freelancing. Kasi feeling ko doon ako masaya, nandun yung potential, nandun yung kaligayahan siguro sa trabaho. At feeling ko doon ako mas magiging productive. Hindi lang bilang artist or syempre bilang worker din, creative.
A Deloitte survey found that 4 in 10 Filipino youths saw side jobs as a way to develop their skills and professional relationships.
At some point, may mga ilan nga na dahil gusto nila yung work nila at passion nila ito, they want to dwell more on other areas or aspects ng kung ano pa pwedeng i-explore. Kasi kapag passion, mas kapag passion mo ito, mas nasusustain mo din ito. So parang mas na-enjoy mo siya na kahit pagod ka, hindi mo napapansin na napapagod ka kasi masaya ka eh. Kasi yun talaga yung passion mo eh. So kaya ibang level yung kapag passion mo ito at kapag hindi.
Being able to create and do more sa art, yun yung parang gusto kong maabot in life. Yun yung idea, yun yung success para sa akin. Walang pera daw sa art. And kapag purely passion yung pinapairal mo, walang pera doon. And that's why nagkakagal ako ng maraming jobs. Nagkakaroon ako ng maraming jobs para masustain yung passion na yon.
Studies suggest young Filipinos have big dreams. Many hope to earn a degree, build professional careers, and improve their lives. Many young Filipinos also want to build a better life than the one their parents had.
So, ang pinaka-goal ko sa pagkakaroon ng maraming trabaho, financial security in the future, hindi lang ngayon. Yung fund ko yung studio, mapagawa ko na bahay namin, bahay ng magulang ko, at sana bahay ko din in the future. Yung pagdating ko ng 30, hindi ko na masyadong poproblemahin pa yung ibang bagay kung may na-save pa ako. Kung alam mo yun, halimbawa, pag nagkasakit ba ako sa edad kong 30, kaya ko bang magkasakit?
In one survey, more than half of Filipino millennials and Gen Zs saw financial independence as a top priority when thinking about their future. Among those who prioritize it, more than 40% said they had taken on additional jobs or income sources to reach that goal.
So, yung financial independence is connected to the traditional form of financial independence wherein kids, ayoko nang hingi sa parents ko and may expectations din na mag-contribute ka. And that is self-fulfilling for Filipinos, di ba? Na, nakakapagbigay ako sa parents ko at hindi ako dumedepende sa kanila. My feeling is that it's possible that they may be seeing their parents. Their parents are still working quite hard, even when they're very old. Is it possible that the way young people see this also encourages them na maybe I should do this work now so that in the future I can actually enjoy the gains or the fruits of my hard work?
Importante sa akin na magkaroon ng financial independent kasi lumaki ako na hindi ganun yung magulang ko, na parang konting pagkakasakit lang, walang-wala na kami agad, lubog na kami sa utang. So parang trauma siya in a way na parang ayokong maging ganon. Sa buhay natin dito sa Pilipinas, parang ang taas ng cost of living, mahalat ng bagay. Kasi kahit simpleng pagbabakasyon lang, parang pribilehiyo na siya, privilege na yung magbakasyon ka ng isang buwan, isang linggo, gano'n. Kapag financial independent ka, kaya mong may gawin or madaming gawin na bagay na gusto mo.
At some point kasi nakikita ko na kaya hindi nagiging sapat ang isang trabaho kasi mas marami kasing options and opportunities ngayon as to compare before. At bukod dun sa options na yon ay mas marami ding mga leisure activities and other things na medyo ikaw ay mai-encourage as to compare noon na limited kasi ang nakikita at na-expose ang mga tao.
And this way, side jobs can help fulfill aspirational goals.
So currently, I'm a cloud business development manager from an educational tech company based in Singapore po actually. Pero I'm also a cloud and AI consultant on the side po for that company. And yung mga side jobs naman po na tinitake ko is content creation, digital ads modeling. I also do hosting, brand ambassador. So aside from that po, nagdi-digital marketing din ako. So I handle naman yung mga pages ng mga different brands and then I will do their social media parang management. Siguro ang pinaka-next goal ko din po talaga, no, kapag talagang dumating ako sa point na financially free na talaga ako, gusto ko po talagang mag-migrate. Kasi number one factor is healthcare. Kahit gaano pa po kadami yung pera mo dito sa Pilipinas, once na magkasakit ka, ubos po yan lahat.
For Francesca, earning more is also about being able to do more for the people closest to her.
So hindi ako materialistic na tao, pero when it comes to my family, my friends, magastos po talaga ako. Doon ako nag-spend sa experience and sa food talaga na gusto kong i-share din sa family and friends. And kapag when it comes to bills, like electric bills or water bills, tumutulong na din ako for that. Hindi ko na kailangan mag-asa parents ko. I have my own initiative to do that na.
So it becomes their motivation and drive to push harder to somehow attain not just material possessions but the quality of life that they want in the future. That's why they really worked hard for it.
Among young Filipinos, 7 in 10 say their top life goal is to be able to help their parents and siblings financially.
Meron tayong konsepto ng paying back to your parents. Sa Philippines, minsan hanggang college, di ba? Pinapaaral ka pa rin and so on. So, of course, you could think about this as a payback in the sense that young people will want to be able to find different opportunities to be able to contribute to the household. But at the same time, secondly, yung aspirations is also not just to contribute to the family. There's also a rise of the different ways aspirational lifestyles are visible through social media. And dahil mas visible na yung mga aspirations na yun, people can dream, oh, I want to travel, I want this lifestyle. And connected siya doon sa pinag-usapan natin kanina, the hustle culture and the freelance culture, baka pwede ko siyang ma-achieve. If I only put more hours, more hard work, more gigs, if I combine more gigs, and so on and so forth.
As young Filipinos see what others have achieved, some feel compelled to work harder to keep pace.
Kapag may nakikita akong social media content na halimbawa katulad ng isang Gen Z na madaming trabaho, siguro nape-pressure ako dun sa part na ang laki ng kinikita nila tapos yung kinikita ko, dun lang sa comparison ng kinikita, mas nape-pressure din talaga ako magtrabaho pa kasi competitive. Siguro, naging ganun yung kultura simula kahit sa school, yung competitiveness.
For many young Filipinos, hustling has become a way to build a future they want. But what does all that hard work ultimately bring? The rewards of hustling are not always measured in paychecks. Sometimes they're measured in milestones. For Rio, that milestone was building a photo studio of her own.
Nandito tayo ngayon sa studio ko. Itong space na to, dati siyang part ng malawak na tahian. Ni-renovate lang namin gamit yung pera ng mom ng partner ko na in-offer niya sa amin. Tapos yun, monthly ko siyang binabayaran at thankfully, nakalagpas kalahati na ako sa pagbabayad. Tapos ito naman, ito yung mga gears na ginagamit ko for the shoot. Tapos sa part na to, nandito yung mga damit, yung mga pinaparenta namin sa mga clients namin. Tapos this one, ito yung whip ko, work in progress painting na eventually ibebenta ko din sa market. Then, dito, ito yung space kung saan ako nagpapahinga. Ito yung higaan ko. Dito ako natutulog kasi kadalasan ng work ko umaabot ng oras, ng gabi. So, parang minsan wala na din talaga ako halos time matulog pero I need a nap. Kailangan kong magpahinga saglit. Gusto ko succeed or success financially. Kasi parang tawag dito, Parang dream ko yung studio ko.
Economically speaking, the fact that they can monetize their passion allow them to increase both their consumption and investment activities, which are actually good for the macroeconomy. And in today's age, a lot of young generations are into content creation. Monetizing content in the online platform allows them to have more purchases, augmenting the contribution of consumption and investment in the Philippine economy.
For Francesca, those purchases are more than just material rewards. They're reminders of how far she's come.
So, ito po yung mga makeup na binibili ko yearly. And these are my go-to na talaga. So, mostly dito, binibili ko siya sa US. And kada taon, isang beses lang po ako bumili ng makeup. So, ayan po. So, ngayon, dahil may chance na ako, binili ko na talaga yung mga gusto ko bilhin. And this one, mga Dior, mga nag-range siya siguro 2 to 3K. For example, sa mga lippies, ayan po. And I feel like deserve ko naman bilhin to kasi syempre I've been working so hard. So syempre kailangan ko din i-reward yung sarili ko.
On social media, the term deserve, a play on the word deserve, has become shorthand for treating oneself after working hard or getting through a stressful period.
I think the reason why the concept deserve has been applicable to young Filipinos is because they were once deprived of receiving those things, and then maybe the reason why they really worked hard to somehow compensate that feeling that they were once deprived before.
However, the benefits of side hustling also come with trade-offs. More broadly, workers in the Philippines face challenges balancing work with time to rest and recharge. In 2025, Manila ranked 41st out of 60 cities in Remote's Global Life-Work Balance Index, lowest among Southeast Asian cities measured. The index gives a composite score comprising things like work hours, annual leave, labor protections, and other work-life indicators.
So far, sobrang busy ko. To the point na kahit Sunday na dapat rest day, may trabaho ako. Kasi ngayong month, dun din ako parang napapaisip kasi nagsabay yung art tsaka yung photography.
By her estimation, Rio works about 15 hours a day during peak seasons.
Ang totoo niyan, pakiramdam ko nga wala akong pahinga. Kasi kahit nandito ako sa, halimbawa, simpleng pagpapahinga or halimbawa break time, nag-iisip pa rin ako ng paano ko mapapalago yung business, ano pang income pwede, yung parang ganon. So parang wala pa rin siya pahinga kahit nga nasa bakasyon, parang nakaka-guilty pa.
As for Rodison, on busy days where he has a full slate of food and parcel deliveries, he can pull 16 hours.
Nakaka-stress, nakakapagod. Naepektuhan din yung kalusugan ko. Minsan hindi na nakakain sa tamang oras. Isang kain ko lang, umaga lang, tapos dire-diretso na yung biyahe ko. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Gastos. So kasi bibili na lang ako ng lutong ulam sa kalenderya sa pagdating sa hapon. So kasi sabay kami ng misis ko kumain. Then kaya ito kadalas sa kinakain ko, pag nakainom na ako ng malamig na soft drinks o water, okay na po ako doon, lumalakas na po ako.
But since these are highly driven, full of energy, young adults, minsan kaya nila without them feeling exhausted. But as they get older, doon na minsan napapansin nila na even the health nagde-deteriorate or nagde-decline. Kasi yun ay epekto na ng sobrang pagtatrabaho. And at the same time, yung focus sa work, minsan wala na, no? So hindi ka na super focused and driven. And at the same time, even yung emotional part like yung mood.
Emotional strain is becoming increasingly common among Filipino workers. In 2025, Gallup found that half reported experiencing stress for much of the day, double the region average. Another survey found that finances topped the reason for mental health challenges, followed by work pressures.
Kahit hindi nila sabihin naman talaga, bilang panganay, mataas na talaga yung parang responsibility mo sa family. Then, din lang ako na-pressure.
Ayun, nade-depress ako kasi na-stress kasi nga marami akong bayarin, loan, sa motor, sa pagkain, like pampers, gatas, sa pangangailangan namin sa araw-araw. Yun. Tapos bayarin pa rito sa bahay. Pero yun, nilabanan ko pa rin yung stress na yun, saka yung depress na yun. Hindi ako nagpatalo. Yun. Napakalalaki ako, yun. Yun, nilabanan ko talaga. Hindi ako nagpatalo talaga. Yun. Kasi walang kakainin yung mag-ina ko eh. Kumbaga, sa akin lang sila umaasa.
The 2023 Deloitte survey reported that 8 in 10 Filipino Gen Zs felt burnt out by their workloads. More than 6 in 10 millennials felt the same.
Nawala na ako ng time sa pamilya ko kasi nga kailangan ko talaga mag-work para kumita, magkapera, may panggastos. Dati, sisimba ko eh. Then, di na nakapagsimba. Gusto ko na rin po talaga magsimba kasama yung pamilya ko. Nung Father's Day, day off ako. Yun. Tapos yun, eto, sunod-sunod na. Hindi na ako nag-day off. Malungkot, syempre. Yan. Malungkot para sa akin kasi hindi ko nagagawa yung para sa pamilya ko. Hindi ko sila napopokus kasi kailangan ko mag-work para magkapera. Tapos may makain kami sa araw-araw. Kasi ako lang yung nag-work eh. Hindi pwedeng tumigil eh. Hindi ko pwede umasa lang kami dito.
So, kapag nag-e-exceed ka ng work beyond 8 hours, so syempre may nakukuhang oras na para sanang sa iba. Like oras for the family, oras for relationship, o oras to do other leisure activities and other hobbies and activities that you do. Hindi syempre nababalanse yung work-life balance.
You work for 2 jobs, you have to be strong enough psychologically, be prepared for that. So youth should be given the chance to develop as a mature individual, as a worker. So while I'm not encouraging that, I'm not also preventing that, because people, they have various needs.
However, even with hustling, events outside their control can shape the cost of everyday life. Recent conflict in the Middle East has fueled concerns over higher fuel prices, threatening to push up transport and food costs once again.
In the span of 2 months, inflation tripled from 2.4% to 7.2%. It moderated only slightly to 6.8%. That cut across all sectors, but in particular, it affected transport and food. It greatly affected a lot of young Filipinos, especially those with multiple jobs, from 2 aspects. One, they had to earn more to buy the same amount of food for their families. The second aspect, a lot of young Filipinos doing multiple jobs, they actually have to juggle multiple schedules and they have to travel a lot.
Noong umpisa ng taon, yung hindi pa nagtataas, na sa 1 liter mahigit sa 100 pesos. Nung tumaas na, umabot na siya ng, yung 1 litro kong mahigit, umabot na ng 150 and 200 per day. Tapos, kaya nag-extra ako ng lalamove para madagdagan pa lang gusto ang kita ko sa araw-araw.
The foundational problem is we have such a backward industrial and agricultural base. We're over-dependent on imported energy. So it's very easy to import the oil price shock because over half of Philippine energy comes from oil.
Whether driven by passion or necessity, should building a better future require working multiple jobs? Although Harold now works at a dialysis center, he has never completely let go of becoming a teacher.
Parang naging multo ko po siya na what if Kung nagtuturo po ba, ano po ba yung, siguro ano po yung magiging kinahihinatnan ko ngayon. Pero ayoko naman pong pagsarahan ng pinto yung pagtuturo. Sa aking palagay, sa aking paniniwala, kulang po yung suporta na natatanggap ng mga guro sa gobyerno po.
Harold's experience highlights a broader challenge facing the labor market: creating better paying jobs. To tackle this, the government has launched the Trabajo para Sabayan Plan, a 10-year strategy to create more quality jobs and help workers move into higher productivity industries. The strategy involves various steps to help businesses grow, attract investments, encourage digital adoption, and upskill workers.
The Trabajo Bayan Plan program is geared toward addressing all the mismatches in terms of the skills of the youth and the needs of the market. It is envisioned to address the unemployment rate, underemployment rate in localities. It's a program which we hope can address the problems of various communities, but taken together it will help prop up, increase the job sector, as well as the employment sector and manufacturing sector likewise, especially in agriculture.
A 2026 report by the Philippine Institute for Development Studies found that technical and vocational training programs are not always keeping pace with changing labor market demands. And in one earlier study, 1 in 4 graduates from 2009 to 2011 said outdated skills learned in college had kept them from getting a good job. The Trabajo para Sabayan Plan wants to address this.
We have to really retrain, upskill the current workers. Because if you're referring to the jobs of yesterday, there's a difference between the jobs needed today and tomorrow. So retraining is one. Technology adaptation is also needed for that.
The idea is that if workers can earn more with better jobs, they are less likely to take on additional work out of necessity.
The Philippine government is making significant strides in improving work quality, job quality in the Philippines, and with the availability of certain training programs housed in the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, a lot of these training programs cater to new skills that are now currently being required by the industry, not only in the Philippines. And these programs are actually very helpful because it introduces a lot of young Filipinos into alternative skills that were not actually covered in their formal education.
We have some models, but I have always espoused for the last 2 years a concept called as the triple helix, wherein there is the manufacturing base, there's the government, and there is the academe. For instance, for the budding Luzon Economic Corridor, we should have more academic institutions specializing in IT, in the Clark Field area, and so on and so forth. So for tourism, that should also be the case. You should have hotels, you should have a tourism school, and you should have the government issuing the policies insofar as the tourism industry is concerned. I foresee this will be the global trend in the next 5 years, similar to your Silicon Valley concept in California.
However, critics say the problem goes beyond upskilling or a skills mismatch.
The problem of joblessness is an economic problem. Without a comprehensive industrial policy, without a large plan for agricultural modernization, the Philippines will never have enough jobs, never have enough high-paying, high-productivity jobs for all its youth and for all its actually non-youth working population. I think we have to press that over and over again because it's very easy to blame the lack of work on a skills mismatch. It's very easy to blame the unemployment because there are not enough job fairs. But in the end, these are all cosmetic tweaks to a fundamentally unemployment-intensive economy.
it is very important that the economy is structured in such a way that it is capable of attracting not only domestic companies to set up their operations in the Philippines, but also to invite big companies from abroad, from outside the Philippines, to enter the country rather than the Philippines actually the ones supplying workers outside of the country.
The Philippines recovered strongly from COVID, posting some of the highest GDP growth numbers among ASEAN countries. However, the World Bank estimates that the top 1% capture about 17% of the national income. The bottom 50%, they share just 14% of national income.
I think the dream of any worker, especially young Filipinos, is to have your stable 9-to-5 job, 5 days a week, earning enough from your income for your family, and having enough for rest and recreation on the weekends and vacations other parts of the year. But that is literally a dream unavailable to most Filipinos. Nearly 50 million Filipino families struggle on 22,000 pesos monthly or less. In the meantime, you literally have a small handful of elites profiting from the economy, not just from paying cheap wages, but from selling overpriced goods and services because they monopolize key sectors, key industries.
If workers have always been exposed to exploitation, sometimes they even see this as an opportunity. Sometimes they don't see it as exploitative because they have always been exploited.
Still, recent surveys show that a majority of young Filipinos want to work more hours or take on additional jobs. The question is whether they do so out of necessity or desire.
So, dalawa kasi siya. One is survival to get by, and then the other one is a strategic choice.
Working on multiple jobs is not necessarily wrong. It is not necessarily bad as long as the objective of that individual is actually being met. And that difference also requires a different form of policy from government so that policies would be able to assist those who needs the policy most, who needs the benefit most, and these are the people who actually needs to augment their income to survive these economic conditions that we have right now.
But even for those hustling out of personal ambition, working long hours can come at a cost. According to the World Health Organization, regularly working 55 hours or more a week is linked to an increased risk of stroke and heart disease.
I think people should know their limit. Kasi we're always on that part na we are challenging ourselves. Hindi, kaya pa eh. That kind of mindset na itodo pa. So kumbaga parang hindi pa, may oras pa eh. Sayang naman. Hanggang sa ang tanong ay kaya pa ba ng hindi ka na ba exceeding na sa limit?
So, may mga pagkakataon na nasistress ako, lalo na kapag nag-overlap na yung mga ginagawa ko sa photography and arts at sa iba ko pang mga racket. Kapag ganun, ang ginagawa ko, pumupunta ako dito sa lawa, sa kalikasan. Parang kapag naririnig ko yung mga alon, yung mga ibon, yung huni ng mga puno, parang nare-relax ako.
In the end, for the young workers we spoke to, none expect to juggle multiple jobs forever.
Siguro, isang trabaho na lang kung sapat yung kikitain. Sa tabang yung talagang pampamilya yung kikitain talaga. Hilig ko sa anak ko. Ayoko na magaya sa akin na maraming racket, maraming trabaho. Gusto ko yung stay lang siya sa isa. Yun, para hindi siya ma-stress, mapagod.
Hindi ko na nakikita yung sarili ko na ginagawa itong mga side hustles na to ng pangmatagalan. Kasi ang dami ko nang namimiss na mga importanteng okasyon kasama yung pamilya ko. Yung mga events na dapat nandun ako pero lagi akong wala. So parang pakiramdam ko napapaglipasan ako ng panahon dahil mas inuuna ko pa yung pagkita.